Yo, what's up guys, Bryce here, and we're back at it again for another video. And in this video, we're going to be doing a track guide of VIR. This track is pretty crazy. It's a lot of fun. I've done a lot of driving this in Automobilista. It's a little bit dated in iRacing, but it's still a lot of fun, and it's definitely a track that should be used a little bit more in officials because it is very challenging. Definitely does not forgive you for going wide or touching a little bit of grass, but I'm going to be doing a uninterrupted lap and then an in-depth guide where I kind of explain the braking points. You can really see lines and all that type of stuff as you can improve your lap. I'm in the low 145s, mid to low 145s, and the track temperature that I'm running is about 85 to 90 degrees, so pretty hot in VIR here. And without further ado, let's get right into this. Track guide going down into turn one. It's a pretty hard braking zone, so you can get some nice passes done in a race. So going down to turn one, I'm really looking at that the three number board, and I'm braking really hard at like around 90%, not 100% just quite, and I'm just getting a really late apex on turn one. I'm apexing quite late here, and then I'm just focusing on trying to get on power as quickly as I can, and also really smooth, because again, it's a really tight corner, and with certain cars, especially in a GT3 like BMW, you're going to struggle with a lot of oversteer if you get on power just a little bit too quickly. It's a really late apex. You can see this is going to lead you all the way down into turn 3. So you're going to really want to make sure that you maximize the exit in turn 1. So braking before the 3, you can try to push that braking zone. Usually if you overshoot it, you can try to compensate by getting a later apex, but the 3 is usually where I'm braking, peaking pretty high, and then you can see I'm getting a late apex. I'm kissing this curb on the inside, and that's pretty much as close as you want to get, because as the curb ends, there's going to be grass, and then you want to stay sort of in the middle of the track. You can see there's kind of a racing line there, depending on how much the wear is on the track. You can see the racing line. So you can see the racing line is pretty noticeable there. That's kind of where you want to be, because that's where the grippiest part of the track is going to be. I'm not all the way to the left, and I'm not all the way to the right on corner exit. I'm kind of in the middle of the track. Too far to the left, you might wash out wide, and you're also increasing the radius of the track, so you're going to be going a little bit slower. So middle of the track, and I'm going to be making my way towards the right. Now, turns 2 and 3, I'm avoiding turn 3 just so I can line up turn 4 really nicely, or turn 2 so I can line up 3 nicely. So I know some people like to really hug this inside curb on turn 2. I like to focus mainly on turn 3. So all of my focus is going to be on turn 3 right here. So all my focus is going to be on turn 3, and I'm really just going to be trying to maximize the exit of that. So we'll just play in slow motion, and then we'll see. So you can see I'm missing turn 2, I'm getting to the right as far as I can on that white line. Any further than that, you're in the grass and it's literally an insta spin. So be careful of that. And then turn 3, you can see we're just going to be getting a nice late apex, and I'm using the curb on the inside. It's not too bad. Honestly, I'm able to do it. But if you don't feel comfortable with the oversteer, or say you're driving a Lamborghini, which is a really difficult car on the curbs, you can definitely it's not a hit. It's not a deal breaker if you don't hit this curb, but I'm hitting this curb on the inside and then I'm using the curb on the outside. I remember I drove this track in Automobilista 2 and there's a lot of curb on the right. In iRacing, it's a little bit dated, so there's not much runoff on the right. Kind of sucks. So that's turn 3. Turn 4 and 5. This is probably the most important sequence of corners on the whole track. Again, because it literally leads all the way down. You can't even see it from here. It's so far in the distance. It leads all the way down into turn 12, and you really want to maximize the exit speed coming out of these sequence of corners. So going into turn 4, I'm braking. Let's actually play this again. I'm braking right like 100 meters past the curb on the right. I'm braking and I'm peaking like around 50%. I'm turning in second gear and I'm kissing this curb on the inside, but turn 5 is really where I want to be using a lot of curb here. You can see I'm just mounting that curb more than the other ones, and I'm using the track on the left. And this is really where you want to be able to feel the gas, and you want to be able when the car is gripping up, because you don't want to go on power too quickly, because for this corner here, which is turn 6, you're going to be washing out wide. So you really just want to be able to feel the throttle and feel when is the right time to fully go on power. So we'll just run through this again. Kissing this curb on the inside, like we said before. And then here, again, I'm lifting a little bit. I'm full throttle here, almost not yet full throttle. I'm being patient. I'm holding it like around 80%, just holding it. And then once the car straightens out, then that's when I can go full beans and just go all the way down to turn 12. So you really have to get a feel for it, and this just takes time. But you'll know when it's time to go on full throttle. You can push that limit, and then through the S's, it's pretty much just taking the straightest line through all of them. Pretty self-explanatory. You can just watch my line here. I am just using a straight line. I'm using the curbs because you can just keep it a little bit straighter. I've tried not using the curbs to keep all 4 wheels on the ground. You can see I'm using a bit of curb, and you can gain like a millisecond of time. But now going down to turn 10, another really important corner. So right when because you'll notice the elevation changes and it flattens out. Right when it flattens out and I've got the car nice and straight, I will use a little bit of track on the right. You can see we're pushing it on the white line, so be careful of that. So track straightens out. I'm going to the right to open up the corner. I'm braking slightly, downshifting to 4th gear to use engine braking, and I'm just flicking the car in and going on power aggressively. That's the best way I can explain it. You need to be confident and turn in earlier than later for this corner. You don't want to slow the car down too much and try to get a super late apex. Just turn the car in early, back on power. Look at my telemetry, how quickly I get back on power. Boom, up, hold it at like 70 to get the rotation, and then I'm pinning it at 100 throttle for this corner here. So this one takes practice as well, a lot of practice, and be careful with the outside curb as well. Not a lot to play with there for the outside. And then I'm bringing the car to the left nice and smoothly, not going crazy, jerking the wheel, trying to throw the car off balance, but I'm bringing it to the left and I'm braking right before the 2. And this corner here, 11 and 12, is really important as well. And my favorite corner of the track, just because the tree is pretty cool when you're like driving underneath the tree. But going into 11, I'm just kissing the inside curb. Now, what the most important thing is for this corner is I want you to just look at my braking for this corner. So going up to 60, I'm releasing it, but it's a very slow release of the brakes, and I'm still on the brakes till about mid corner. So that's important because you need to trail brake a lot here. Once I'm kind of at this outside curb, I'm going to the outside and focusing on turn 12 again, because you can see on the map, the track map, to turn 14, it's a really long straight. So trail braking under this tree here, I'm pretty much looking at this the tire barrier. And then once I hit the curb on the inside, you can use a little bit more of it, but it's not unsettling the car too much. Again, a really nice smooth throttle, especially with the BMW. And then we're out of this corner and on the long straight all the way down to turn 14. So it's a really long straight here. You're going to go over this little hill, and then you're going to go back down the hill, and then up the hill, and then back down the hill. It's like a roller coaster. So going into this corner here, you can brake fairly late. I'm braking, let's see where I brake. I'm braking right before that little arrow there. So pretty much past the 1 board. And I'm doing most of my braking in a straight line. And then as I turn the car in more and more and more, I'm releasing off the brakes more. And this is turn 15, I think. I'm not sure how accurate the Race Labs map is, but I'm just going off of that. I think this might be 15 and then 16, but going into this corner here, I'm pretty much hugging this. And then once you see it end, I'm not trying to get a super late apex for the next corner. I'm just going straight to the left and just pitting full throttle. So we'll just watch that again. Braking hard in a straight line, releasing the brakes tight to the left, and then I'm bringing the car to the right for this curb here. I'm just hugging this curb nicely and then unwind the wheel and just go gradually, nice and gradual on throttle. That's really important there. And then I'm pretty much just taking the straightest line all the way down to the last two corners, which is really tricky. So for these two corners here, I'm using the curb on the left, and this is just to open up the radius again, braking in a straight line here and then releasing of the brake. And once you release the brake, you feel the car kind of rotate more. And then this is when I'm going to be using the curb on the right. And this is just to make sure that I can use as much track as I can. And then once the car drops back down onto the track, then that's when I'm going to be using the throttle because the compression of the car, and you can get on the throttle pretty quickly. But be careful because you can wash out wide. It's really easy to do so. So using the curb on the left, and then I'm using the curb on the right. Once the car drops back down, I'm going to be using more throttle. You can see that little spike there where it's gradual and then it goes right back up. That's when the car hits the ground. And then that's when I can utilize the traction to get a nice exit. And it's really about getting feel for that corner. The more you do it, the more confidence you'll get. The more confidence you have through those corners, the more you'll be able to maximize your speed through there. And that is a lap of VIR. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you guys can improve your lap times. It's definitely a really tricky track, and like I said, it takes a lot of confidence for a lot of these corners. A lot of the fast speed corners and lines are really important, and being able to slow the car down as fast as you can and get back on power. So fast in, fast out, pretty much. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.